Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys how you can figure out what your rising sign is if you don't know your birth time. I used to think that I was a Leo rising because when I put in 12 o'clock, because that's what they tell you to do if you don't really know the exact time, that's what it told me. And it kind of did seem like it was resonating. But since this new Mercury retrograde is here in Gemini and the new lunar eclipse is happening in Scorpio, I realized that Leo is not my rising sign, and actually Sagittarius is my rising sign, because all of the chart stuff makes sense to me when I like do the math. Not the math, but like the math. Anyway, so if you want to know your rising sign, then just look at all of the things that's happening in your life right now up until and a little bit after the lunar eclipse that's happening on the 16th or 15th, depending on where you're at. So if you feel like most of the things that changed was like your appearance and how you saw yourself and wanted to present yourself to the world, like body wise, like physically wise, then that's in your first house, and that means you're a Taurus rising. And it has to do with the body. So if you feel like your possessions and your income was the biggest thing that like changed during this time, then that means that it's in your second house and you're Aries rising. Now if you have to social media as like your thing that like went crazy, but pay attention though, because I have other ones too that have to do with like social media and like social stuff. So don't just pick that if that's the only thing you have in common with that. That means it's in your third house and your Pisces rising. It has to do with like your siblings and stuff like that, your like communication and your thought process and stuff like that. Okay, so the fourth house is Aquarius, which if you're an Aquarius rising, then it has to do with property. It has to do with your roots and your family and possibly your mother. Boom. So if you're fifth house, then that means it's Capricorn rising. It has to do with fertility, kids, sex, romance, love, creativity, and drama. You know, love and sex always come with drama. If it's in your sixth house, then you're a Sagittarius rising. It has to do with your diet, your fitness, and you know, getting your health in check. I might have to do a part two. If it's in your seventh house, that means that you are a Scorpio rising, and it has to do with investments, debt, relationships, anything where you're sharing something with another person, or it has to do with another person affects that part of your life, then that means you're a Scorpio rising. And then if you're a Libra rising, then again, something about sex. That's why I say you got to pay close attention. So this has to do with your opponents, your resources and stuff, your joint like projects and goals. Again, you got to figure out if it's rising Leo or Scorpio.